if you're lactose intolerant, you can't watch this movie because it's got so much cheese.
Sorry, yeah, I gotta go. You guys can do this on your own now.
Nope, end it there. You agree 100%. I'm right. Welcome, fellas. How we doing today?
Hi, Joey.
Hi, Joey.
How are you guys?
Good.
Oh,
Good.
sorry if you heard that. You just had to look at our last Instagram post, so I opened it and the sound was on.
Well, we could take this quick opportunity to plug our Instagram. Go follow us at flicks_fellas on Instagram.
Great quality content on there. Okay, so let's just get right on into this one. Today we are doing a different type of movie, a horror film, which we've never done before on the show. James is not a fan,
I
so
hate horror
I was
films.
a little excited about this one, but we'll see what everyone's first reactions are in a minute. The movie is Things Heard and Seen, directed by Sherry Springer Berman and Robert Pulcini, starring Amanda Seyfried, James Norton, and Natalia Dyer. Like I said, this is a horror movie about an artist who relocates to the Hudson Valley and begins to suspect that her marriage has a sinister darkness, one that rivals her new home's history. Spooky. Let's get right on into this. James, you're our resident horror expert who
Yes.
loves horror movies. What was your first reactions?
I think I've seen, in my entire life, I'm 27, about to be 27. In my almost 3 decades, I've seen The Conjuring, most of Alien, what was it called? What was that other movie?
Hocus Pocus?
Hocus Pocus terrified me. No. Movie that fucked me up on horror movies for a long time wasn't a horror movie, and I can get into this as a story for later. War of the Worlds terrified me when I was a kid. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, it was a horrifying movie.
I saw it when I was young, and then
Yeah.
every time there was a storm, I thought aliens were coming.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it was rough. But what we're talking about, so this movie, this for me was an okay movie. I don't know how it stands up when it goes to horror movies because again, I don't have a ton of experience with them. But what I will say is I don't really think I was ever scared during this movie. And I don't know if that was just me. I looked at the movie time, and I was an hour and 30 minutes in, and I was like, okay, it just seems like when is the horror stuff gonna happen? Because there was maybe 1 or 2 pseudo jump scary things, but I definitely didn't think. I was like, when does the horror movie start? But overall, it was okay. I think I'm gonna get more into my gripes with the movie than what I thought was amazing about this movie in the second half of the podcast. But for now, it was decent. But somebody that has much more experience with horror films, Kevin, what did you think?
Yes, I do enjoy a good horror movie sometimes. This, I don't think, was a good horror movie. To your point, James, it didn't really feel like I was watching a horror. There were times where I felt like I was watching a horror movie that wasn't scaring me. And then, it was just, bogged down with just a lot of other stuff. And I was, just, bored most of the time. I'm not a huge Amanda Seyfried fan. And she's the only really recognizable actor in the movie other than
James
Nancy.
Norton.
Who's James Norton?
He's
I've never seen that man in my entire life.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like he had a very familiar face.
No. I mean,
Alright.
no. I have no idea who he was. I only knew Seyfried, who I'm not a fan of, and Nancy from Stranger Things.
Yes.
That's about it.
Nancy. I was gonna say Strange Things girl, Willis.
Yes, Willis.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just bored most of the time. There was no real it wasn't like Cherry where you're bored kind of, but the acting's really good, so you're still engaged. And then also the horror part of it wasn't really horror, so I don't know. It just kind of missed on a lot of points for me. I don't know. What do you think, Joe?
So before I give my first reactions, I have a question for both of you because you guys said that, James, you said Alien and War of the Worlds were your 2 scary movies that you've seen.
And The Conjuring.
Yes, but are Alien movies considered horror or are they more sci-fi?
the Alien movie, like at least the very first one, is definitely a horror movie. The rest of them
Yeah.
are more sci-fi, but the first one is definitely a sci-fi horror.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely like first Alien is very much it's like an isolation horror movie, because again,
The first Alien, you don't see like the alien that you know as Alien until like late in the movie. Like
Yeah.
it's very much just like James said, isolation and like they're just it's dark and
I asked the question because I wanted to do this one a little bit differently, since horror is very like hit or miss genre. Either people love it, they hate it, they avoid it, they'll watch anything. So I wanted to try and think about different types of horror genres that are out there and how we can talk about it, how it relates to this movie. So like there's gore horror films like the
Saw.
Michael Myers
Saw.
movies, Saw. There's sci-fi like horror films like A Quiet Place, Alien, and then there's more like
Predator.
supernatural kind of horror films like Paranormal Activity, The Conjuring, and I think this one would fall mostly under that category.
Kevin, do
So-
you remember we watched Paranormal Activity in your house?
yeah, I do. And then you came back.
Yeah, we'll tell. Yeah. We should tell that story, but we'll tell. I want Joey to finish his question. We'll tell the story after the commercial break.
Well, no, that was my question because I was going to say I feel like alien movies tend to typically fall directly under horror as well, unless it's sci-fi.
Depends
Like,
on
did
the
you guys see-
Alien movie.
Agreed, but I think typically when you see aliens, it like people's first instincts that something bad. They're evil. It's scary. Like the movie Arrival, like there's a whole alien ships that come
Yeah.
all over the planet. People think it's bad,
Yeah.
and they're actually like friendly. Great movie, by the way. If you haven't seen that, go watch.
Love my rival.
But yeah, so that was just my question and prompt. Like both of you guys, was not very excited about this one. It was very mediocre, boring, way too long. Story was kind of
it was long. It was a
was
long
long.
2 hours.
It
Two
was
hours.
a long 2 hours.
it was 2 hours with nothing that really surprised me. The plot was very predictable. The acting was mediocre at its best. Like most of this movie was shitty acting. I think Amanda Seyfried was decently okay in it. I'm not as much of a hater as Kev, but I'm not as a big fan either. But yeah, they didn't have much going for it. The plot was predictable. They tried to be way too artsy, and it kind of felt like a cheesy video game at times.
And there was so much too that was just like that seemed like it was gonna be part of the movie or like part of the plot or the horror, and that like just like did not pan out. Like or
Nothing.
it was just like forgotten about forever. And I was like, wait, what happened to that? Like what were they leading us for that? Or maybe I missed it. Maybe I'm just dumb. I'm not a movie connoisseur and critic, but I mean, like I don't
now
know.
you
It just
are.
felt like,
Now you're a
now
critic.
I am,
Yeah, you have a
yeah.
movie
You're a critic, you're
podcast.
not a connoisseur.
I'm 10 episodes deep into a podcast about movies, so I am.
I think this is 15 or 14 episode actually. So
You might be right. I'm not good at counting.
yeah, I'm not a mathematician. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
Kevin loses it in double digits.
Yeah, I'm good until 9, and then after that, like, what the fuck?
Okay, so that's our first reactions. I think we'll have an interesting conversation on this one because I feel like that's when we tear apart a movie, it's usually more entertaining. So let's take
I
a
can
word from our
tell you-
sponsor, James.
Yeah. Sorry, I want one more thing before we go. I can tell you, this may be a spoiler for the second half of the podcast, but I was watching this movie and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be one of those podcasts where we shit on the movie for 30 minutes.
It's
Yeah.
You know what's very telling is like a good movie. Like let's go to a really good movie. Actually, the last movie we watched, Sound of Metal, was a really good movie, and I only have 2 lines in my notebook of like things to talk about. This one I almost had to go to a second page. so yeah, this will be an interesting conversation for sure.
At one point, I was like, okay, I just need to start writing down all the cliches that are in this movie, and then I forgot my notebook, so I don't have the rest of them. But
Yeah.
And we'll figure them out.
We'll figure 'em out,
Stay
yeah.
tuned.
So, yes, let's take a quick word, and then we'll get into the ripping of this movie in part 2.
Woo! thanks everyone for watching First Reactions. If you want to check out the full conversation we had about the movie, go check out the movie podcast on our channel. We really appreciate it. Please leave a comment and a like down below. It helps us out a lot. You can also let us know what you want to see next. So, thanks again. Signing off for now.